Time for another award-winning mailbag edition of Seahawks Today by Chat Sports. Tyler Jones here with you. Appreciate you joining us. And these mailbag questions come from our live shows that we do each and every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific. And so here's what I need you to do. You may be saying to yourself, hey, can I be a part of mailbag? Well, hell yeah, you could be a part of a mailbag. But you got to join us for the live show. So go ahead and subscribe. Turn on notifications so you're aware when we go live for our live shows. And we'll answer your questions in real time and see what you guys have to say. Use that hashtag Seahawks Super Chat. We got you covered on our mailbags. Be a part of it. It's a heck of a time. Subscribe today and be a part of our mailbags here on Seahawks Today. First question from Pablo with a $50 Super Chat. Bang! Says, do you think the Seahawks draft safety in round 2? J.L. Skinner or Jordan Battle? Tyler and Patrick, what do you think NFL draft idea in the second round? Seeps, feel free to chime in on this, by the way, as well. I think that J.L. Skinner could be a very good option for Seattle. Before the Julian Love signing, I think the second round was the range we were talking about of Seattle drafting a safety with the injury concerns with Jamal Adams. But now that you've paid Julian Love, you're bringing back Ryan Neal. You got Quandre Diggs there as well. You don't even necessarily have to draft a safety now. If there's a guy you like, if you really like J.L. Skinner or one of these players is still around, I think you consider that. But, Seeps, I don't know about you, but I don't think that's a priority anymore compared to what it was even a week or two ago.
I mean, I agree, Tyler. We were talking about it earlier. Ravens, Seahawks, who really has the best safety group in the NFL? You can make an argument that's the Seahawks. I think they're fine at the safety position, but obviously who knows what they're thinking over there.
Right. We'll see. But, yeah, you very well could. I like Skinner better than I do Jordan Battle, but both players very good, and I think the Seahawks would be happy to have either one, but you don't have to as far as I'm concerned. $200 Super Chat. Bang! From that random video guy, 98, my favorite video guy. What about Hendon Hooker? I would say this about Hendon Hooker. Hendon Hooker coming off the ACL injury, being 25 years old. I think he and I are close to the same age. I'm 26 myself. He had it late in the season, too. So I don't know what his recovery time is going to be like. It could be a while before he's playing football again. I get that you don't need him right away because you have Geno Smith on that 3-year contract. But that's kind of a red flag for me, that whole situation with Hendon Hooker. I wouldn't spend any earlier than a 4th-round pick on Hendon Hooker. If he's still around 4th round and beyond, then, yeah, I think you could consider Hendon Hooker, and there's a lot of upside there. I think another thing you have to consider, too, is, it wasn't until this past year that he had that breakout performance and had the year he had. Was that a one-hit wonder, or is that here to stay? I like Hendon Hooker. I think he can be a very good quarterback if he's healthy, but there are things that stand in the way, like we mentioned there. But Hendon Hooker, I'm certainly open to the possibility. Thanks for that massive super chat there, random video guy. Aiden says, what are the chances the Seahawks take Anthony Richardson at 5? Well, here's what we know, okay? The Seahawks had a very good visit with Anthony Richardson at the Combine and spoke glowingly of each other, right? It almost felt like love at first sight of some sorts. But with that said, you have Geno Smith back. You got him on a 3-year contract. You don't have to draft the quarterback position. I have concerns about Anthony Richardson. I know Mel Kiper's got him projected to go to the Seahawks at 5 right now. But, I mean, you look at him, he's not that great of a passer. He's not very accurate. I know he's a hell of an athlete. I don't think the Seahawks are going to draft Anthony Richardson, but I wouldn't rule it out. I would say that it's somewhere in that probably 10 to 30% range of happening. I think it's certainly possible. I don't want it to happen, but it could. Should the Seahawks draft Anthony Richardson? This is our pen comment today. You might get an ad break. If so, take advantage of it. Get your votes in. Y for yes, in for no. Should the Seahawks draft Anthony Richardson or not? Let us know in the comment section. Y for yes, in for no, if Seattle should add the Florida quarterback. Charlie the Unicorn writes in, I think there's 0% chance the Seahawks take Jalen Carter. Reading between the lines from what John Schneider has said on 710 about character and off-the-field due diligence about players agree. Charlie the Unicorn, let me take you back a little bit further to a John Schneider pick in the Pete Carroll era. And let me remind you of Frank Clark, okay? There was some major red flags about Frank Clark coming out of Michigan. And there's been even more red flags in Frank Clark's career in the National Football League. They still picked him. He still was here for a few years. So they can say all that. They can talk out of their mouths and say one thing and then not do another. I still think that when you look at the talent level of Jalen Carter, it's hard to deny. It's hard to just walk away from that. I understand where you're coming from, but I think that if Carter's there at 5, you can't say no. Chris says, what should we do about the number 3 receiver spot? That's very interesting, isn't it, what the number 3 receiver position brings for Seattle? Because you obviously have DK, you have Tyler Lockett, those first 2 spots, but the number 3 receiver position, you never found consistency, whether it was Marquise Goodwin or some of these other guys. But to me, the draft has plenty of options. We did our mock draft earlier this week, and I took Jordan Addison to Seattle at 20. But I got to tell you, I like Jaxon Smith-Njigba. I also like Quentin Johnston. Zay Flowers isn't bad either. I think all of those guys would be natural fits. Tyler Lockett's not getting any younger, okay? Eventually somebody is going to have to be the number 2 receiver among DK Metcalf. And for the time being, why not give Geno a great arsenal of receivers as far as I'm concerned? So I like that possibility for Seattle to go with Addison or one of these top receivers with that 20th pick potentially to be your number 3 receiver. Should the Seahawks draft a receiver in the first round? S for sign, P for pass. What do you think? Let us know in the comments section if you'd like to see the Seahawks make that move or not. Tell me what you think. Should they draft a receiver in the first round with that 20th pick, S or P? Let me know. Lanny wants to know, or Lonnie rather, does losing Penny affect us? Talent level wise, when Rashad Penny is healthy, when he's available, he is pretty dang good, right? But we hardly ever saw him healthy. That was one of the big concerns. And so losing Penny, does it affect us? I say not that much because you could never depend on him. You could never count on him to be available. And so if you can find another running back out there that is dependable, then you've taken care of things. And Kenneth Walker, last year as a rookie, was just as good as what Kenneth Walker has ever, what Rashad Penny has ever been. So does it affect you? I guess, to an extent. But he's replaceable, quite frankly. So I think Seattle's going to be just fine. Charlie writes, what's your favorite food or spread for a Seahawks pregame? Choice of beverage. So at Chat Sports, we have quite the time when it comes to game days here. We usually it's pizza on the menu. Sometimes it's some fried chicken from Raising Cane's or something like that. But I got to tell you, you can't go wrong with barbecue either. I think if you can get me some brisket, maybe some ribs, potentially speaking, I mean, you're looking at having a good time. Choice of beverage, if it's a soft drink, I'm drinking a Dr. Pepper. I love the 23 flavors of Dr. Pepper. You can't get better than that. But if I'm drinking alcohol, I mean, Michelob Ultra is where it's at. I mean, nice beer that just goes down real smooth. That's my choice. Now, if liquor's involved, then maybe we keep it simple with a Jack and Coke. I'll even throw you out a different one for you. Screwball and Dr. Pepper has been kind of a newer drink I've tried. Been a big fan of that as well. Might have to start drinking that on Seahawks game days. Ranch water can't go wrong with either. So I gave you plenty of options for Seahawks game day. And you know we have a good time here on the channel. Speaking of which, we have the best Seahawks coverage on the internet with our daily news and rumors segments. But when the season gets started, we're going to have watch parties again. It's going to be a hell of a time. We're counting down to the draft. We're talking all the moves the Seahawks are making. If you haven't subscribed, you're missing out, folks. You need to turn on notifications so you can be a part of what we're doing each and every day here on Seahawks Today. The best part about it, too, doesn't cost you a thing. It's free. Subscribe now. Turn on notifications so you never miss a moment. YouTube.com/Seahawks TV. Got time for a couple more. Let's go to, is this supposed to be childish? Whatever it is. Thanks for the $10 super chat. We'll pay that off if you're watching on a live show coming up in a bit. Malik McDonald was a pick from Seattle that never played a snap. Jalen Carter won't be the next McDonald, will he? I don't think so. I like that you brought up that comparison because that's a name I have not heard in a while, Malik McDonald. But no, I don't think Jalen Carter is going to be Malik McDonald. I hope he's not Malik McDonald. Jalen Carter, even if he doesn't go to Seattle, I'm wishing him nothing but the best and hope that he figures it out and has a pretty nice career. Thanks for that super chat there, my guy. We'll pay that off here momentarily. Derek writes, do you think the Seahawks sign Bobby Wagner in the coming days? If he signs with Seattle, it's got to happen soon. Wherever he goes, I think we're going to know one way or the other very quickly where exactly we see Bobby Wagner play in 2023. We'll have that answer coming up in the coming days. That random video guy dropped that $200 super chat earlier. Do we need to worry about running back? I don't know if worry is the right term for that random video guy, but I would say that it should be taken care of. I don't think you're concerned, but it is something that needs to be addressed. It's not a high priority, but it is something that needs to be taken care of, if that makes sense, random video guy. And that's where I find day 3 being a good spot potentially for that. Frederick writes, do we trade up next year, number 1 pick, for one of the top quarterback prospects, no matter what we end up drafting? With love from Sweden. Thank you, my Swedish friend, and all our Swedish Seahawk fans. Hopefully you enjoy some Swedish fish. With that said, I am very open to that possibility. I would love to see the Seahawks trade up next year. Caleb Williams, Drake May, one of those guys. I like them both better than any quarterback in this draft. If you can trade back from 5 and then salvage a pick, pocket one for next year's draft, use those picks and move up, bam. I think you would love that idea. I think you're onto something there, Frederick. I could see that. Caleb Williams or Drake May, I'd love to see in Seattle. Last question from Nate. Nate writes in, do you feel like a 2-back system would be best for us like Philly did? 100%. No question about it, Nate. In today's National Football League, you have to have 2 running backs to be successful. The wear and tear that these backs go through and just all that they take on and everything, you have to have multiple running backs to work in today's NFL. So, yes, you got to have multiple guys because you got to give rest. You also have to have a 3rd down back. You also have to think about short yardage and those things like that. Yeah, you got to have 2 backs to be successful as far as I'm concerned so you don't wear out your starter too much as far as that goes. But, yes, you need a second running back. Please, get Kenneth Walker another guy, and the Seahawks should be in good shape for running back.